It's funny. The older I get, the more I realize I look like my grandfather. I'm even dressing like him. Always got the Western shirts going, the jeans and the boots and the and a hat, always a hat. And he always wore his hat because he's 30s and 40s generation. He always wore his hat like that. And all the old guys wore their hats like that when I was growing up, down in Bakersfield at least. They're always tilted to the side because that whole fedora thing, they used to tilt the hat because it was cooler so they could look like Robert Mitchum or something like that. So there you go. Want to share that bit with you every day and in every way. I'm looking more and more like my grandfather. Howdy, I'm CharLee Simons, your host here on Do Not Talk. Talk about two things you're never supposed to talk about, politics and religion. But it's more than that. I talk to the people that everyone tells me I'm not supposed to talk to or nobody's interested in or whatever. Those are the people I will go to. I gravitate to because the media ignores them, shuts them down. The one big thing the media is really ignoring is alternative broadcasting. It's competition. Of course, you don't talk about your competition, so I can't really blame them for that. But the media for decades has lied to you. The biggest lie they tell is by omission, never even telling you about things to begin with. Like, until something happens and it goes viral and everybody freaks on the left. Like FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, what he said on Benny Johnson's show. And that and more. I got David Waddell with Q Broadcast. It's a new kind of, almost best way to describe it is like a cable TV system where you get everything in one place. Also, Mike Cook, one of my absolute favorites. He's a fellow a podcaster. Started to say broadcaster. I'm the broadcaster. Not anymore, though, when the media decided they didn't like the way I thought. My own media, my own business I've been in all my life. And Sam Anthony from yournews.com, who has created a platform that's almost like replacing not only your hometown newspaper, but your national newspapers too, like Wall Street Journal and USA Today and so on, that covers the whole nation and the world. That's Sam Anthony, yournews.com. So those are my guests on today's Do Not Talk, and we're dragging the media through the mud again. Ready? Hit it. And this will be fixed in post, as they say. Hello, gentlemen. Hello.
Hey, Charlie.
How's it going? So you're saying that I'm the one that no one wants to talk to? Is that what you were saying?
Exactly right. Gentlemen, David Waddell, welcome. First time on the show. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's like having 4 peas in the same pod on this broadcast right here.
That's right. Or Sam, what did you say, Sam? 3 is a crowd and 4 is a what?
An orgy. That's what I
There you go.
No, thanks. I'll pass. I'm leaving now. See y'all later. Goodbye.
I said it completes the circle.
Yeah.
Dang. All right, this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this a lot. The enemy is the media, and President Trump was right back in his first, stint as president when he said the media is the enemy of the people. He's right. He's right, and they have been for an awful long time. And now they're getting busted hardcore. The whole thing with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and these pieces of crap came out of the woodwork to praise that. Now, we saw the videos of all the people posting that kind of stuff, but what about the media people who were saying things like Jimmy Kimmel on ABC, the dying network's been dying for a long time, owned by Disney? Why would Disney keep that broadcast network when it's just hemorrhaging money? Jimmy Kimmel makes how many millions of dollars per year? How much does it cost to put that show on? It's shot in Los Angeles, so they have all the union. Everything's union. It's a union shot. They cost so much money to put on that hapless, weak, feckless nighttime talk show 5 nights a week. Costs them so much money, and his ratings are dismal, and they've been dismal for a long time. Well, that idiot will do anything to try and get attention. I know him personally, as a matter of fact. Not a good man. And he will he goes on the air and he says that it was basically a vast right-wing conspiracy, that we're all trying to deny that this guy was some kind of MAGA flag waving, Trump loving supporter, that goofy little piece of crap who took that shot, allegedly took that shot that killed Charlie Kirk. Because there's video coming out now that's just freaking me out. I'm like, how do you explain that T-shirt moving from the shot and so on? And finally, Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, said, "Yeah, we're looking at all aspects. We believe that this is the guy who took the final shot, but who was behind it? Who made it happen?" I don't even want to say his name, that little creep, 22-year-old, 23, however old he is. I don't really care. All I know is he did it, and he took out a national treasure as far as I'm concerned. And all these people are facing backlash. The Jimmy Kimmel show everybody said he was fired. He wasn't. He was put on hiatus, paid, by the way. And now he's back. He's supposed to be, the first show is going to be tonight. And Sinclair Broadcasting, it's an ABC affiliate. They run ABC programming, so they're affiliated with that network, has said, we're not even going to run it. I don't care what your contract says. We're not going to do that to our audience. We're not going to even allow him on the air. Everybody's freaking out about First Amendment rights. Did you guys see Brendan Carr, the FCC chair, on Benny Johnson's show?
Yeah.
Yes.
I missed it.
Yes.
Good. You're going to see it now, buddy. Watch this, gentlemen.
Okay.
Very concerted effort to try to lie to the American people about the nature, as you indicate, of one of the most significant, newsworthy public interest acts that we've seen in a long time. And what appears to be an action by Jimmy Kimmel to play into that narrative that this was somehow a MAGA or Republican motivated person. If that's what happened here with his conduct, that is really, really sick. And I've been very clear. They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. And we can get into some ways that we've been trying to reinvigorate the public interest and some changes that we've seen. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. Obviously, look, there's calls for Kimmel to be fired. I think, you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. And again, the FCC is going to have remedies that we could look at. And again, we may ultimately be called to be a judge on that. But yes, this also strikes me as sort of conduct that to some extent shows some sort of desperate irrelevance. I mean, look, NPR has been defunded. PBS has been defunded. Colbert is retiring. Yes. Joy Reid is out at MSNBC. Terry Moran has gone from ABC and now admitting that they are biased. CBS has now made some commitments to us that they're going to return to more fact-based journalism. And so I think you see some lashing out from people like Kimmel, who are frankly talentless. And we have a rule on the book that interprets a public interest standard that says news distortion is something that is prohibited. Likewise, we have a rule that addresses broadcast hoaxes. And so, again, over the years, the FCC has stepped back from enforcing it. And I don't think it's been to the benefit of anybody. Just look at the credibility of these legacy media. It's absolutely through the floor. They used to be able to say at least they were more trustworthy than Congress, but now they're even less trustworthy than Congress. And so I think as a business matter for them, something has to change. And at the FCC, we need to reinvigorate this. So again, there's actions that we can take on licensed broadcasters. And frankly, I think that it's really sort of past time that a lot of these licensed broadcasters themselves push back on Comcast and Disney and say, listen, we are going to preempt. We're not going to run Kimmel anymore until you straighten this out, because we licensed broadcaster are running the possibility of fines or license revocations from the FCC if we continue to run content that ends up being a pattern of news distortion. So I think, again, Disney needs to see some change here, but the individual licensed stations that are taking their content, it's time for them to step up and say, this, garbage, to the extent that that's what comes down the pipe in the future, isn't something that we think serves the needs of our local communities. But
a final question to you: do you believe that what Jimmy Kimmel said rises to the level of news distortion?
Look, again, the FCC could be called upon to be an ultimate judge in that, but at this point, I think it's clear. It appears to be clear that you could make a strong argument that this is sort of an intentional effort to mislead the American people about a very core fundamental fact, a very important matter. At the end of the day, if we do get called upon to cast a vote on this, Disney will have a chance to put in their arguments and explain it. But this is a very, very serious issue right now for Disney.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
They're freaking. Left is freaking out. Oh, the Federal Communications Commission. Who are they to decide what is honest speech and what is truthful speech? Well, the FCC has always been there for that. They've always regulated and monitored. That's what the Federal Communications Commission does. They've just been so weakened during the Obama administration, especially. Bill Clinton really started it with deregulating the ownership rules, going over the FCC's head. And now we see what we have now, which is just a 2 or 3 big, huge, bloated companies deciding everything that we see in here. And the FCC is finally saying, nope, you know what? We're getting back to doing our job. What are your thoughts on all that? Is that censorship? Sam?
Well, no. I mean, if they're public airways and there's rules and regulations, then all they should do is abide by the rules and regulations. So if the company is going to continue to put this person on the air, then the FCC has to come in and make a call. But, I've never seen it happen before. Have you? I've never seen anybody pulled off the air for anything, except unless it's a conservative. Okay. And that was the companies getting rid of them. I have never seen. So what did Kimmel do? I know what he did, but how much time did he get for his crime? A day? 2 days? I mean, this was like nothing. And here's, this is why if he wants to say this stuff, he needs to get his own podcast where there is no FCC. And I think that's where Dave comes in. David has, so David is streaming. So David, tell us, are you regulated by anybody?
Not at all. We are purely an IPTV company. We didn't come from the cable industry. We didn't come from the satellite industry. We are completely internet protocol television. And sometimes I hate talking about this because I don't want the government to find a way to regulate us. But, as an internet company, we don't even have to charge sales tax for the service because it's an internet only service. So when we say our service is $69.99, it's $69.99. We do not take any government funding. We're completely privately held, privately funded. Matter of fact, after the second year of operation, I was able to pay back every investor that invested in the company, and to where I have 100% control of what we're doing today. And so we don't sell advertising ourselves because we don't want to be controlled by an advertiser that says, hey, we'll put in $3 million worth of advertising, but you can't show CharLee Simons' show. And so no, we don't involve ourselves in any advertising. We welcome you to advertise on your own show because you control your advertisers for your show, but we are a completely free speech platform. I don't even have to agree with what you're saying. I mean, could Jimmy Kimmel come to Q? Sure. We're a capitalistic company. And if they want to bring subscribers, he can say whatever he wants on Q. But at this time, we get very few liberal shows even showing any interest because they control all the public media today.
Yeah, they already have an outlet. 98% of the media is all geared towards them.
Yes. So, we're based on first faith, family, freedom. And that's what Q is all about. And
don't I already find that on YouTube? Although YouTube has deleted many of my shows.
Well, yeah,
family and freedom on YouTube.
because they're a publicly held company, they have standards. YouTube TV is completely regulated by the FCC, and so that's where we look at who is our competition. YouTube TV is probably the closest thing we have to competition, but we have a lot more channels than they do. We have a unique license with all these content providers. But I'm telling you, the Jimmy Kimmel and the what's the other guy, Stephen Colbert, they didn't get fired for what they said. They got fired because they're losing millions of dollars a month. That's the bottom line. With
Exactly.
all of
That's
these
how broadcasting works.
Yes.
You don't
so
deliver, you don't bring the ratings, you don't bring the eyeballs, as they say, then I'm sorry, we're moving on. We're gonna rescind your contract, and we're gonna try something else in there.
So-
That's what they do.
ABC and CBS both were just looking for something that they could blame it on, because they don't want to admit that they're going out of business in the next 3 to 5 years because nobody supports them. Again, I just like you guys, I've got to travel all over the country, and I'm telling you, I truly believe that the liberals only control less than 10% of the population. You know,
I've been saying it for years. That's
yes.
it. Thank you.
Yes. And the vast majority are people like us. And again, we're not extreme right-wing people. We want truth. We want justice. We want all the things that the Constitution stands for. And, you know, I've even gone so far to say I'm not a Republican at all. I'm a libertarian, because I believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and what our Constitution says. And I stay away from the political parties because sometimes it's the same animal with two heads. You know, most of the time.
It you always say, Mike, it's two wings running the same bird?
Yeah.
Left wing, right wing, same bird going the same way. And let me just add about the Jimmy Kimmel show, the demographics. I was watching Glenn Beck. I think it was Friday. Friday's when he got fired, or Thursday or Friday, right?
Right.
And not fired, asked to leave for a weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
But they were running the demographics live on the show. You know, he had one of his producers running trying to figure out where his show was rated, and he said it was rated just behind the Muppet Show, which isn't broadcast; it's only streamed on one of the pay sites. That's how his viewers, just behind the Muppet Show. So there you go.
What do you think about Chairman FCC Chair Brendan Carr's statements on Benny Johnson's show, Mike? Is that First Amendment attacking the First Amendment, freedom of
Well, you
speech?
see, there's the prop like with the gentleman we're just talking. The broadcast, the ABC, NBC, CBS that use the airwaves to put out. If you're using the internet, or you're using cable, or you're using satellite, or whatever, not regulated. But the broadcast is regulated by the government, and has been for a long time. And so there's rules you have to follow. You can't say certain things. You can't do certain things. One of the rules is that when you put a side of politics up, you have to allow the other side to speak. And they said Jimmy Kimmel had not had a Republican on his show in 3 years.
Yep.
Bill O'Reilly was saying that.
Yes.
So that would be breaking the broadcast laws. That's actually what that means is that the FCC, if they decided to come along to all those ABC affiliates who all have to have a license, they could pull their license. Now,
and they do. They have to radio stations before, I know. There is a definite move in on the left to paint anything that you have to do, like we pulled the funding for PBS, NPR. Thank God, because why are we giving our tax dollars to a broadcast entity to compete against actual commercially licensed broadcasters? I always hated that. And they say, well, this is necessary programming. Well, if it is, then people will find you. Well, we don't really need the government money anyway, because we get donations because we're nonprofit. Okay, great. There you go. Thank you for that.
Radio jockey, you had to get licensed, didn't you? Didn't you have to apply for license and stuff?
Oh, yeah,
Me as on the interwebs, I don't have to do anything. I can just get on and talk. You know, and the same thing with your news network, and same thing with Q streaming, like you're saying. But when you were in broadcasting, there was a license for that and a fee that goes with it, probably too, right? Then it costs
and a fine. Yeah,
and a fine if you did it wrong.
Yes.
So
as Howard Stern had, by the way, the company that owned Howard Stern, I think, was Premier, if I remember right, and They never did pay any of those fines.
Hmm.
They were fined. They were fined because of things that Howard Stern would say. They never paid a dime of those, and nobody ever went after them. I don't get it. So the FCC has been toothless for an awful long time. Like I said, going back to Bill Clinton, when he deregulated ownership rules, went right over their head. And look what's happened. He destroyed broadcasting and the business as we know it.
Well, he fixed broadcasting so that it was all controlled by them. Until the internet came along, till the things like the Q Broadcasting and Your News Network and other platforms in that area, that was all controlled by them. They were the gatekeepers. The internet has destroyed that, especially now. You know, they came out with the iPhone and all the other stuff. Since that started happening, it has destroyed. That's part of their problem, is that people have a voice now.
I got two questions. Was that FCC chairman, anybody know who was he appointed by Trump?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so he's an appointee. All right.
Yes.
The second thing is, and this goes to David. You know, I spent a lot of time in the media space in mine, because you're media, I'm media, completely. Right. Different businesses, but Comcast is media, your media, the newspapers media, radio, TV. So I completely understand how the legacy media is not going to survive just because it's an antiquated product. They have massive costs, and eventually all that stuff's going to collapse. As I understand the Comcasts of the world, these are like the aggregators of all the stations that put it together and people pay a fee to watch, right?
Yes.
Okay, which you're the exact same thing, except streaming only, right? Correct. So here's my question, because I haven't thought that part of the industry through, because I hadn't really needed to. And now I'm scratching my head going, how's this going to play out? What happens to Comcast and companies like that, the cable, the people that stream cable, in comparison to yours? Because I would suspect without the regulation, it's going to be much better. It's going to be, you're going to be way more efficient, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're talking about competitive, if you dropped your prices, they couldn't compete with you, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so what's your take on that industry?
Well, that's a huge question with several answers to it. Number one, they are publicly held, so they use shareholders' money. And a majority of their revenue comes in via advertisers. So in a typical 30-minute time slot, you've got 22 minutes of content and 8 minutes of commercials. Yeah. And typically Comcast will get 4 minutes and the content people get 4 minutes, and they can sell their advertising, in that 8 minutes every half hour. And that's a majority of their revenue comes from advertising, not from subscribers. So, they're heavily government regulated because the government paid for all this fiber to be laid, all the cable to be laid, and then the FCC controls the airwaves. You've got to have a license. That there's 3 different unlicensed networks, which the 900 megahertz, 2.4 gigahertz, and
is that the low powered channels?
Low powered channels. And so you can broadcast, and because originally I built my internet company on that type of bandwidth. But what happens is every wireless device is using those same frequencies. And so it's hard to keep internet going when you're getting interference from your Wi-Fi networks, from your watches, all of these household devices using those same frequencies creates issues. So it's better to have a licensed frequency for internet so it's uninterrupted. So, we're in the process. Our whole model is to build what we need to build, buy who's strategic for us to buy. And then the third part, the big part, is partnering with companies who complement what we're doing. So that's, where I met Sam. We see a huge complement between what he's doing and what we're doing to replace the existing media groups out there. So we created a product that has all the same channels. We have over 1,300 live channels. We have all the locals all over the country. But here's what I know: people only watch 12 to 15 different channels. We're all so predictable. And the difference is what we can do. We use AI technology. Our servers track every channel, every person, and we know exactly what they're watching, but we do not sell that information to anybody.
That's a huge difference there too, because you used to have to send out diaries, and then
Yes.
they had the people meter, and you had your Nielsen family television sets where that one family decided what was going to be getting the ratings for thousands of people. So it was
we have black
inaccurate.
and white data that's will be worth billions of dollars if I wanted to sell that. But our commitment is your privacy. So another division of our company is Q Security. Our commitment is to your privacy. We're not selling that information to anybody. Part of our contract with the content people is to give them the information on their shows, so they know how many people are physically watching their shows, how many minutes, how many hours, how many days a month people are watching their shows. And I'm telling you, the information is extremely valuable. What I've learned in just a couple years of what our viewers watch, and again, people are very predictable. The national statistic is 12 to 15 different channels. On our network, it's 7 to 9 different channels. They watch the same things day in, day out, over and over, because there's a lot of garbage out there. There's even a song written, or 300 channels and nothing's on, right?
Yeah.
So we know we have 1,300 plus live channels that people can watch, but they're still only watching 9 or 10 channels.
I can confirm that because I use Q streaming myself. And you get the little favorites. You can set up your little favorites. And I have more than 12. There might be 20 there.
Yeah.
And that's just so that I can, I got all the little news channels and the weather channels on there. But that's you're and I don't ever go over to the 3,000 or however many's on. No. There's a lot, and scrolling through all that, I don't ever even mess with that. So
I'll take it one step further, gentlemen. My mom, God bless her little elderly heart, pays over $200 to frickin' Comcast or Xfinity or whatever they want to call themselves. Over $200 a month because her phone is on there, internet and Wi-Fi is on there, and the TV channels and the cable selections are all on there. She watches around the clock, both televisions, one in the bedroom, one in the living room. Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
Where they just show one episode over and over and over again. This is costing you over $200 a month. I can find it for you on YouTube, or now I know Q Broadcast. This is crazy, but we cling to what we have always known.
Yes.
And we don't know about another way. So we'll continue we're enslaved by it almost if we think that we have to have any kind of entertainment in our home. The prices are astronomical.
Yes.
And they're still going broke.
Yes. So,
and they spend it on Jimmy Kimmel.
Exactly. So that's when I see this news about Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, I just laugh because, listen, this is a business decision. They're losing. Colbert was losing $40 million a year. I don't care who you are. You can't keep losing $40 million a year. Your shareholders are going to come after the CEO. You can't do that forever. Now, the other side that's finally coming out is all of this government money that's been going into the media that Doge has exposed. It wasn't just PBS, and it just wasn't NPR. It was funding a lot of the propaganda media that we know has been there for 50 years.
You said something that I had no idea, that my tax dollars paid for the cable companies to lay down the cable to get to different homes. I had no idea that we had to pay for that.
That's the Al Gore, and this has been the tripe that they've been putting out. They're still saying it today. The Al Gore high-speed internet for the rural communities.
Yeah.
I live in a town of 1,000 people. I've got 50 choices for high-speed internet. Right now I'm on a T-Mobile box.
Yeah.
We don't need high-speed internet. There's still the politicians. I guarantee you, the election cycle's coming around. They're going to be going, we need to spend $100 billion for a high-speed internet for the rural communities. No, we don't.
I can give you firsthand experience during the Obama years. $7.2 billion was set aside for rural internet. That's the biggest crock of BS you've ever seen.
Yep.
First of all of us small internet companies dime. If you weren't a Democrat, you didn't get a dime. And so at the time, I was serving in Ohio with Governor Kasich's broadband task force that Ohio, with the help of Senator Sherrod Brown, who's a big-time Democrat, got $325 million to build fiber to at least one location in every county. Well, the reality is Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati got a majority of fiber to the home in the big cities. The rural got nothing. The rural areas got nothing.
So it was where I grew up. Cable never even came out there. We were still watching broadcast television. Had to adjust the rabbit ears. Okay, son, stand right there. So we're getting the channel clearly. Don't move.
Yeah, that just tells how old you are. That's what that is. But let me add one thing. So I live in Central Missouri. Like I said, a town of about 1,000 people, little town. Outside the hub is about a 20,000 people town, and I can drive a little distance away, and there won't be any cell phone signal. There's no broadband. There's no nothing unless you got Starlink or something. You've got no internet. Yeah. But let me just point something out to you. The people that choose to live in those locations, they don't want it anyway. So there's a. I mean, they're leave me alone kind of folks.
Yes.
So there is that.
Sam Anthony in particular, I want to get your take on this. Look what California is doing now. Look what California is doing now.
Of all of this, something else happened around free speech, something nobody seems to be talking about happening in the background while none of us are paying attention. The bluest state in the country, California, just passed the most censorious bill ever to be introduced in this country, SB 771, passing the Assembly on September 10th, 10 days ago. Then on September 16th, passing the Senate completely under our noses, which means right now, all that stands between complete statewide government censorship is Gavin Newsom's signature. Now, am I exaggerating about how bad this bill is? No, I am not. Here is the actual bill. You can pull this up yourself on the state's website. The bill's called SB 771. It's called Personal Rights Liability Social Media Platforms. In Section 2, Title 23 of the bill, it defines the penalties for breaking this new California law. If you post something on social media anywhere online that the state of California deems to be hateful, there's a penalty for that reckless violation, a civil penalty of up to $500,000. For an intentional, knowing, or willful violation, a civil penalty of up to $1 million. That is the definition of the state controlling speech, folks, not what Trump just did. We don't like what the FCC chairman happened to say on Benny Johnson's show, but there's a huge difference between that and real government censorship. And what type of speech is California trying to police here? Well, let's read from the bill. It says, this bill protects against online harassment, particularly when directed at historically marginalized groups, which means what? If you were to, I don't know, point out who the Kavanaugh assassin is, which we all just learned about this morning in this new court filing, if you were to say who that person is, would you be fined $500,000? Pretty frightening. All of this happening in the midst of the media and Democrats, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris making hay out of Trump trying to attack the First Amendment. Meanwhile, the state of California is actively passing UK-style laws that will fine you for saying the wrong thing. Pretty wild. And this bill is completely done, folks. It's passed in the House. It's passed in the Senate. All that's left is Gavin Newsom signing it into law.
I don't know who that guy is, but he used the word censorious, so respect. But
I don't even know what that means.
Did you even know about that? I'm in California, and I had not even heard about that because the legislature during the COVID shutdown waived their own 30-day print rule. So we don't even know what is coming up through the chambers.
Yes.
I was stunned by this. He mentioned UK. He's absolutely right. We've been seeing the videos of people arrested in their homes for something they posted on freaking Facebook
Yes.
that they deem to be censorious. I am stunned by this. I don't know how to stop this, but this affects us on the internet as well, not just broadcast, Sam.
Yeah. So first of all, you should have checked the politics section of your news in California, because we published this.
He told you.
Good man.
But, you know, this goes right along the lines of the Democratic Party and what Gavin Newsom's whole agenda is. So I'm not stunned by it at all. I'm surprised the death penalty wasn't included on it, right? I mean, he wants to get rid of anybody that he wants to get rid of. Now, here's my question. I'm assuming this is for California residents. He can't come to Florida and come after anybody else. So this is for California residents. So look, this is exactly what they want. What they say about conservatives wanting to control everything and censorship, they actually do. So, you know, it's the, you know, but their guys is, oh, we're doing it to help people because these minority groups, you know, you can't have hate speech on them. You know, the people that are actually raping your daughters, well, that's okay. But if you tell people they raped your daughter, you're going to jail, which I did see a clip, something in the UK where some guy that raped some young little girl got like 30 days, but somebody got like 3 years for posting something about it. Okay. Like, this illegal raped this girl. Well, you're going to prison way longer than the guy who did it. I mean, it's sick. It's absolutely sick, but this is where they're at. And this is where we're at. So obviously there's no freaking chance this is going to hold up in any Supreme Court. No. But the problem is you have to run through all this just to get there.
Yeah.
I just want to bounce off what you just said there, Sam. You said that won't affect other states, but if you go in California, you commit a crime and you flee to another state, they'll want you back. They'll extradite you from that other state. So it depends on what the state decides to stand up to, because this is an internet law, which means they could go after CharLee in California. But if CharLee's running on my network right now. So if CharLee posted on my network and they come after me, they'll try. You better believe they'll try.
Won't come after you. There is no way they're going to be able to. What
sheriff
is going to pick you up?
There's no way. Well, in my county, no, it won't happen. But that doesn't mean they won't try. That's what I'm saying. And why we're talking about, I just added this in, CharLee. This is right here. Look at this. This is countries with the highest number of arrests for online comments in 2023. Look at the number one.
UK.
United Kingdom at 12,000 people. That's higher now. Look here. Look here. You got Vietnam, 45. You've got Russia, 500. China, 1,500. More people were arrested in the United Kingdom than China for posting online things they don't like. Iran, 100. Now, mind you, they probably don't have a lot of access to internet, but you just think about that. This is the exact same thing they're doing in California. All what they're doing in the United Kingdom right now, where they're arresting people for saying we like bacon. I mean, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
How do we fight against that, David Woodell, when we as content creators are now going to be like, oh, shoot, I can't talk about anything. I have to shut up and shut down. I'm going to have to talk about cookie recipes and hope that nobody's offended because they're allergic to gluten.
So, and when you see this family of companies around me, there's a reason for that. We can't trust the energy company to keep our electricity on. We can't trust a fiber company to keep our internet on. We have contingencies set up through blockchain, through creating our own power at our own data centers. We will own every piece of the pie. And in the next 3 to 5 years, I think you're going to see a lot of these major media companies literally go out of business. And what we're looking at today, this is the future of broadcast. This is the information people want to hear because you're telling the truth. You're exposing all the government fraud. You're exposing all the propaganda that's a part of our education system deep, deep, deep. You know, my dad was a school superintendent. I taught school for 9 years before I went into business. my dad came to me in 1979 when Carter put in the Department of Education. He said, "There's the beginning of the end."
He was right.
He spent 49 years in education, 39 of it as a superintendent. And he said, there's the beginning of the end of education. When the government comes in and starts controlling our education. And I feel sorry for anybody under 40 years old, because you've never gone to school and had a true education. Unless you've been in private schools or home schools, you've been cheated from a lot of history facts, a lot of scientific facts. Okay, here, let me really start some controversy. How many of you believe in global warming?
I believe in climate change, because that's the way the Lord created it.
You got to define global warming for me. Are we talking about man-made global warming or just nature?
Well, nature has gone through history of ups and downs.
Exactly why I asked.
In reality, we're in a cooling phase today. That's been for about the last 100 years. We're in a cooling phase. Does it bump up once in a while? Yeah. But the thought that man can control the weather, they're doing it, right? They're seeding clouds and they're controlling rain, but can man take God's position of control? And it fails time after time, century after century. Go back and read your Bible. There's nothing new happening today that hasn't been tried over centuries and centuries and centuries. And
let me touch on that real quick.
Yes.
So I got here in the central United States, we have these clubs called pachyderm clubs. They're Republican auxiliary clubs, and they actually started in Columbia, Missouri. And in Columbia, Missouri is MU, and we had a guy come speak at our club who is the chief professor of he's a doctorate in meteorology, climatology.
Yes.
And he's the head of the department at MU. And right. He is totally conservative. He's a very sciencey guy. And he points out what you're saying is that there's been times of the earth where there's been high CO2 and high temperatures, and high CO2 and low temperatures, and low CO2 and high temperatures, and low CO2 and low temperatures. That there's that most of the time they go like this, but sometimes they go like this throughout history. Now, how they measure that, I don't know. But he's a sciencey guy. He knows all that stuff. But his point is it cause and effect, or effect and cause? What's causing the temperature to go up or temperature to go down? Is the temperature going up creating more CO2? Or is it, you follow what I'm saying? He goes into this big old long deal about that. He does not believe that he said man has not produced enough in its entire existence to have an effect on the climate.
So now you've just touched on one of my best hobbies that I love. When I was 10 years old, I joined 4-H just to be, I didn't have animals. I lived in town, but I studied weather and electricity. And so I've always been avidly following weather patterns and history. But I know this was brought out in Congress. What is the parts per thousand that carbon dioxide is in the air today? Do you know that number?
I think it's around two parts per thousand, something like that. It's very small.
0.04.
Okay, 0.04. So I was off by, a couple 100,000 parts.
Well, what's funny is Senator Kennedy out of Louisiana was questioning the heads.
I remember that one.
Of the people who should know this. They had no clue what it was. The answer is 0.04% is carbon dioxide. If we drop down to 0.03, guess what's going to happen?
The plants die.
Plants die. When plants die, how do we get oxygen?
Well, we count on the government to create some sort of machine.
Exactly. Yeah. If you've ever gone inside a greenhouse, they have CO2 machines inside creating more CO2 to feed the plants to help them grow. So we do not have an issue with too much CO2. The CO2 has to be balanced with how do we produce oxygen for all of us to breathe. So you want to kill the trees, you want to kill the plants. You know, all this garbage that Al Gore and so many others have talked about. Why isn't Florida flooded over? Why is there more ice in Antarctica today? By the way,
why does Obama keep buying oceanfront mansions?
Yes. And by the way, when you go to Antarctica, right where the tip of South America comes close to the tip of Antarctica, that little area, just to the east of there is a sea that's called Weddell Sea. An English explorer in 1823, he got kicked out of the British Navy, but he discovered Antarctica and that body of water, and they named it after the Weddell Sea, which is my last name.
Any relation?
Yeah, if you go back far enough, we came from Eastern Tennessee through Great Britain from Germany. So there's a hill in Germany called Wad's Hill, and all the Wad's Hill people that's where our name derived from.
Well,
but anyway.
You know, Al Gore predicted back in 1998, he predicted the seas are going to rise 10 feet in 10 years.
In 10 years. It's always 10 years.
It's still not there yet. It's not there yet, but we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
I want to point something out since we're talking about CO2. You know, it hasn't always been CO2.
Right.
Everybody in this podcast, I'm talking to the Gen Zers out there, maybe the millennials too. We're all old enough to remember ozone holes, and we had to get rid of our Aquanet because
everybody was freaking out over holes in the ozone. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to those holes?
No more hairspray.
That turned out to be
that's right. They had to change the molecular structure of any kind of aerosol can. And California led the way there, by the way.
We had to get rid of R12, which worked really well and was really cheap for your air conditioner. We had to get rid of all that because of ozone. And
that was California too.
No one talks about it anymore. It's all gone.
No.
When I worked at a water plant, I was the guy turning the valves on, filling up those 5-gallon buckets of water out there in California. Sprinklers? What is it? The water got with the trucks they drive around with the little flash. Anyway,
Sparklets.
That's it. Yeah. Out here it's Culligan. But so I was the guy that did that. I turned on these valves and it'd fill up the bottles, and then it would roll over and he'd hit it with a mallet, put the cap on,
Golly, that sounds like an exciting job.
Yeah. But they sprayed, just as it went into the bottle, they sprayed ozone. They sprayed ozone into the bottle. They got it from the water. They had a machine that took it out of the water, concentrated it, and they sprayed into the bottle because ozone kills anything. It kills bacteria. It kills fungus. It kills. I wish, but it sterilizes the water, and then you know what it does after about 2 hours? Turns back into oxygen and mixes with the water. That's what it does. And you know that hospitals,
the way the Lord created it.
Hospitals actually spray, or they did at the time. I don't know if they still do now, but they spray ozone into their operating rooms.
The casinos in Las Vegas, they fill it up with ozone to keep everybody awake, so they gamble more. But yeah. So
and no windows, so you never know what time of the day it is.
Exactly.
So Sam Anthony, this law might be, it's not signed into law yet, but this what was it, AB 77? The whole we're going to fine you if you say anything that makes any little minority people group upset. That's the media's fault completely. This whole thing with climate change and so on, which started off with global warming, remember? Then it became cooling, and then it became, well, we don't really know when none of these things started happening. So they just changed the wording. They control the English language. This is all the media on the left. I had a hippie teacher in junior high. I remember lecturing us all about how if we don't do something, it's up to us, the younger generation, to make this change. Otherwise, we're all going to be dead. And they had us kids scared to death about it. Kind of stuff that hasn't changed. They're still doing that, and with the media and with educators all on board with this. Sam, how do you fight against that?
Well, they all have stage 4 cancer, Charlie. So they're not going to survive much longer. Okay, remember, once the media goes, that's their microphone. Like David said, he doesn't have any liberals coming to his platform. Want to know why? Because they don't exist. They're all controlled by the mainstream media.
Yes.
I've been inviting them. You know how many I have? I have 5,200 people. I got my third one. I'm actually happy. I'm trying to, and this person is somebody in Ohio that talks about the LGBTQ movement, whatever the hell it is. Then I got another guy in California. He don't ever talk about anything liberal. It's all Motown stuff, right?
Yes.
So there's not many of them that are interested in providing content. They're supported by the media, but this is why, believe it or not, the left, and all these tech giants kicking everybody off, it was a good thing because we went out and created our own.
Yeah.
And so now, as all this goes away, and let's say, because, look, David is saying, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, ABC, they're all antiquated products, legacy media. They're not going to survive, right? It's all going to be gone. What do they have to compete with us? The answer is nothing. And they're not going to create it because liberals don't create anything. They just destroy everything. That's all they're interested in.
Good
So
point.
nobody's going to go, I got an idea. Let's build a platform. Yeah. Which idiot are going to get to build it? I mean, nobody's going to do it. They're just going to try and steal yours.
And see, what I see Sam has built is the future of every local TV channel coming up. He's got local people delivering news in all these areas. I believe this is going to be the new local media. And there's a lot of media talent that's already lost their jobs with the ABCs, the CBS, NBC, Fox,
CharLee,
right here, that there's a lot of great media people looking for an opportunity. And our model financially supports that local media. Our affiliate program does everything to put money back into local communities. And I could do a whole show just on our financial model and what we're doing, not only with TV, but with internet, telephone, security, energy, agriculture, real estate. There's a whole master plan that TV is leading the way because it's the lowest fruit on the tree that we can get to, because people are starving for truth. People are starving to hear what's going on in my local town. I've always lived in rural America, and our focus today, we're partnering with rural telephone companies, rural electric companies, and we're focused on the 50 million households that aren't in Chicago or New York or Detroit or St. Louis or LA. I care about everybody because I'm on TV. Right. Anyway, but our focus is on people in rural America, giving them what they want and what they deserve, what they need
At a third of the price.
at a price. And guess what? Even at a third of the price, we make a little bit of money that way. We are making money, and we will literally, our business mission statement is, we're not in this just to make a dollar. We're in this to make a difference. I've already been offered $600 million to sell out. There is no price tag on what we're doing. This is a movement. This is a revolution. This is not for sale. I'm not up for sale to the highest bidder, because I've been told, giant media companies, what's Comcast going to do? They're going to come to us and try to buy us out. When we refuse to sell, they're going to try to position, and we'll end up in court forever. We're prepared. I tell the story. I was being interviewed by somebody of just like you, Charlie. And he said, when he understood what our model was, he said, David, do you realize these giant media companies are going to come after you? And I said, what's my name? He said, David. I said, okay. My mom named me David from the Bible because she wanted me to be a musician. What else is David known for? Fighting.
He didn't pull any punches, that's for sure. He attacked.
Giants.
Bring on those giants. We built this model to be prepared to fight the giants. And this isn't just a business. We're in this to make a difference. And when we've got somebody like Sam has put together his news business, that we are just two people that needed to meet. And literally we've just met in the last 2 weeks, and things are moving quickly. And I believe we're the future of the new media, with you guys doing the talking.
He's right.
It's rare for me to be on a podcast. I've got a chief public affairs officer that does that kind of stuff, but I'm passionate about what Sam and I have been talking about. I'm passionate about the opportunity to be on this show because, CharLee, you've been doing this for decades. This has been your life. And I'm just getting to meet a whole group of new people that Sam has already put together. And, we don't even know what we're doing exactly, but we know we're moving together. We're just figuring out the details as we go.
I love that. Throw it at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Remember this, CharLee. This is, you have two complementary media companies, right? Yes. That, are non-competing, but completely complement each other. And these will replace the old guards. You know what the power is here? Guys, think it through, okay? Because the legacy media is not going to be gone. What I do is I'm the aggregator of all that information, having local news reporters all over the United States. We're talking free speech platform, right? Putting the power to press in the hands of the people. What he does goes hand in hand. I mean, we could create a superpower here. So this is
exciting. I thank God for you gentlemen and people like you who are trying to blaze these trails. But as a content provider like Mike Cook and I are, we're just small little voices out in the wilderness, just keep slogging along, trying to make it work and trying to get people to go, hey, you know what? I like the way this guy does that, or I like the things that he says. I'm going to continue, and I'm going to financially support him. Maybe I'm going to give him $5 through Venmo. Maybe people are used to getting things for free. They don't want to pay for things. So I'll tell you what, it's been a real battle to keep going out here, as Mike will tell you. But Mike, with this California proposed law that Governor Hairdo's probably going to sign into law, because that's the way kind of wicked, tyrannical clown he is, it is going to adversely affect guys like me in California. First time I get a $500,000 fine because I called instead of LGBTQ, I called them what they are, the homo mafia. I get fined for that because I dare to say something like that. This is insane what's going on. How do we fight against that?
There's a solution. I hear the weather. Is this true, Sam? The weather down in South Florida is pretty good this time of year, ain't it?
God, it's amazing.
So there's your solution, CharLee, is get out of that.
I don't talk about that. I don't talk about anything else.
We can broadcast from anywhere, and
that's my point.
You can't shut the internet down. You can't keep people from accessing the internet, no matter where they are. And our platform already is worldwide. We are touching people in other countries today. We have subscribers in all 50 states today, and about 4 other countries right now. We're already touching them. With our military in different places, it's spreading through the military groups, watching us because they have the choice. Where else can you be? Now, I'm an avid LSU football fan. Sorry if that offends anybody, but we're
my wife would love it
of LSU football. But I can be watching the game, and then when CharLee's podcast comes on, I don't have to shut my TV off, go to the internet, pull up Rumble or one of those other platforms that you're on. All I have to do is switch a channel to channel 54, and I'll find CharLee. That I'm theoretically, CharLee, I'm trying to get you to come on our platform. Same thing with you, Mike. We have channels, and in our new platform, everybody has a channel number. Whereas in our old platform, you had a category, whether you were in podcasts or news or entertainment, and then you had to find it within that platform. Now we will have a published guide that will tell you if you want to see CharLee Simons or Mike, here's the channel that they are on, and here's the time that they're on. And
Interesting.
The channels would be like 1054, right?
yes.
So
Yeah, well, actually, the first 100 channels are all podcasts, and then after that, it'll go to probably 1,401, 1,501. So there's no limit. But again, just like Mike was saying earlier, what he does is he sets up his favorites. You got 15 or 20 channels in your favorites. You don't have to search through all 1,500 channels. You know what you want to watch. So I've got my sports channel set up. I've got my podcasters that I follow, and all I do is change the channel, and I'm on watching your podcast. I don't have to. And
That's
with
cool.
your podcast, we can make it interactive as well. It's not just broadcast out. You can receive information just like you do with Rumble and all those today.
I would love that. I would love that. That's exciting.
cool.
I didn't know that. There's one monkey wrench though that I see.
What's that?
The internet providers. They're
Yes.
all flaming lefties. The Comcast, Xfinity, Verizon, T-Mobile, all the internet providers. And to be able to watch your channel or to be able to get yournews.com, I need to be able to have internet access. So unless I pay the money and subscribe to Starlink, Elon Musk's thing, which is extraordinary, of course, but it's just another cost and another thing. I don't know anything about this. I just want to turn on the TV and it's just there. That's what I'm used to. I can see these internet providers saying, we're not going to run Q broadcast anymore. Kind of like how Sinclair's doing with Jimmy Kimmel.
That's not how it works.
So they can't do that because
VPN.
They can't. Okay.
our now worst case, the app people like Apple, Samsung, Google, Amazon, all the app stores could refuse to put our app on there. But
And they did with Parler, Dan Bongino's Parler. They shut it down effectively doing exactly that.
Shut me down.
We have a set-top box that nobody could. Again, we're prepared for every scenario you can come up with. We have a set-top box that nobody controls but us. And so you look in the upper corner here, that's Q Broadcast. The next one is Q Broadband. We are coming up with our own broadband companies, and we're partnering with them. Listen, every internet provider out there today can't deliver TV without us. The only thing you can do is resell Dish Network or DirecTV, because cable companies aren't going to let you show it. They're competing for your internet business too.
Yep.
So why do we have TV, internet, telephone, and security? So that we can compete with all those companies, and we can
awesome.
single bill
That's awesome.
with all those services. And
That's exciting.
we have Q Capital, where we're becoming, by this time next year, we will become our own bank. We don't need banks. We don't need any kind of control. Any place that you can try to control us, we're taking control of our own future.
We don't even need no stinking badges.
No,
So,
stinking
David,
gadget.
David,
Can I
where
point
do
out
we?
one other thing that I noticed? Can I point out one other thing that I noticed? So I just want to point something out. I know Charlie's working with the bare minimum laptop, maybe a camera and a microphone, maybe.
Yep.
And I know Sam, you're on your laptop, and you probably you look like you have a camera or something. I have a professional studio, kind of. I've got a mixer, a microphone. I got 4 computers. I got a real nice camera. I have less than $1,000 in my stuff.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys, I'm familiar with both of your guys' operations. I know you guys are not spending money, trying just to spend money. You guys are making it, squeezing every dime. You know what I mean, to make it work. And so you're minimalist. You're not being. The reason I bring this up is so we're talking about Jimmy Kimmel. What's his production? Millions, right? Millions of dollars.
Yeah.
There's how many people are on his staff? hundreds probably,
Yes.
all making 100,000 a year out there in Hollywood. But you know what? I want to show you something else. He was talking about how the government funds all that, right?
Union wages.
We have the what I call the patriot mythology pushers. These big, huge accounts, big, huge names. Some of them not so much, but they have hundreds of thousands of millions of followers. They have. You take a look at the Candace Owens, the CharLee Kirks, those type of people. Their production, they're spending lots of money on production. They have staffs. They have all this stuff. Where's that money coming from? Okay, you follow that? Number one. Number two, you know you can buy audience, right? Mm-hmm. You could buy your audience on social media. You could buy your audience. And so you see these 2 million followers. Now, that this isn't the case with like Charlie Kirk, but 2 million followers, 50,000 views. There's something off there.
Yeah.
So the point that I'm trying to make is there's money coming to, even on our side. These influencers are being paid for, even on our side, for their opinions. So therefore they're owned. Where people like you and people like Sam and people like Charlie and people like myself, there's no money there. So nobody owns me. That's such a different. So that's what I'm saying. That's where you guys are at too. You're on a different scale than me and Charlie, but that money captures them. And then they have all this production that they have to do. Their outlay is probably just ridiculous. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. No, and I've had the opportunity to interview movie producers. I'm in conversations right now with a guy that has a major show on Discovery Network that wants to come direct to us. And, they're used to having the big studios come in and give them upfront money. But when they give you upfront money, guess what? They own you.
Yep.
They own everything about you, and there's no residual income. Our model is different. So we love working with small groups, small podcasters that have a following of a few hundred or a few thousand, because we have an affiliate program, and I'm not going to get into that here, but we have an affiliate program that compensates you, just like Sam does. There's an affiliate program where you generate your followers coming to our platform. You get paid for it through an affiliate program. And that's our model works that way. And
can I just add this, that I just looked at my checking account, forgot here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just saying.
Awesome, man. We're building a one-stop shop, and for television broadcasts, it's Q Broadcast, and for newspaper type stories and a presentation, it's yournews.com.
Yes,
David, I love this. I love that you said you don't do many of these podcasts, so thanks for coming on my little old show. Mike Cook, always appreciate you. I want to know where we can find you all. Sam Anthony, we know yournews.com, and you can scroll down to the bottom of the page. You can actually become a contributor, and he does monetize. And I know, because thanks for the check, Sam. And when people watch, he shares the advertising revenue that he brings in with his contributors. That's awesome.
Yes.
That's like YouTube, but YouTube, of course, has all the eyeballs and ears right now. But that's changing, I believe, and I hope, I pray it is, especially if conservatives finally get off their lazy asses and stop depending on YouTube for everything and start exploring other avenues to get their information. Please, screw YouTube, fire them.
Yes.
David, where do
too.
we find you? Where do we get a hold of you, and how do we see what you're offering programming wise?
QBroadcast.com, CUE, which stands for Communication Unites Everyone. I think this guy named Charlie Kirk kind of been doing that for a few years as well.
Amen. I like that.
The CUE stands for Communication Unites Everyone. So QBroadcast.com is our website, and Mike is already an affiliate. Sam is becoming an affiliate, and hopefully you'll become an affiliate. You'll have your own links that you can set up there to generate revenue for yourself. So that's our model, is putting money back in the hands of content producers and help you build your audiences and give you a platform where today, Charlie, I'm not sure where you are physically, but Mike,
California, NorCal, Sacramento area.
Okay. And Mike, you're in Missouri,
Mhm.
and I know you're in Florida. So, but this platform gives you nationwide exposure, just like Sam's does in the Your News. But we can give you nationwide exposure to bring people in wherever they are, because you've got fans in every state that want to hear from you, that want to know who you are or what you have to say, you know, and you're the future of Q broadcast. You're the next Dan Rather. You're the next, I can't even tell you the names of
Walter Cronkite.
Walter Cronkites. I mean,
Tom Brokaw, Embassy Nightly News.
there you go.
So there's a question in the comment section. Is Q in Canada yet? That's a tough one, I guess.
That's well, so our licenses, some of our licenses don't allow us to sell inside of Canada.
Okay.
Now, if you bought it in the United States and you carry it to Canada with you, yeah, it'll work worldwide. But we're only selling it in the United States today. So there are a lot of people from Canada that have U.S. addresses and U.S. Visa cards, and they can get the service. But there are certain content agreements we have that don't allow us to broadcast to everybody in Canada yet. Now, if we had enough interest, we'll get those licenses. But again, our focus is on the United States right now.
Sure enough. I was just in the comment section. I thought I'd bring it up.
And there's one thing that I also comes to mind. I don't want to drag this out too long, but I'm just fascinated with this because this is my business. This is who I am. It's all been about media. That's all I've done all my life. That and drive a tractor. But the content providers like Netflix, Amazon, even some of the cable channels like AMC made some extraordinary shows. Breaking Bad was one of them, and won multiple awards. Walking Dead, of course, and Netflix and the others. And they're all they're leftist pigs. And I used to wonder, why are these networks doing these award shows? The networks are putting them on, but yet they're promoting this platform that's competing against them for the content that they're putting on there that's not airing on their networks.
Right.
And that always baffled me when I went, oh, well, a rising tide lifts all boats, and they want to see the destruction of the world as we know it. One world government stuff. That's why they're doing it. They're promoting it because but you're telling me that you're working with some people where you're actually going to be featuring created content, not just rebroadcast. That's exciting. That's awesome news right there.
Yes, we Q Production is working with individuals right now and helping them develop their own content. I've been to several. I was out at NAB in Las Vegas back.
It's the National Association of Broadcasters.
Yes,
anybody doesn't know.
Yes, in end of February, 1st of March, and literally filled with content creators looking for a home. There's a lot of stuff already, as they say, in the can. They've already produced it, and they're looking for a place to sell it. Well, the old model is you sell it and get a few bucks in your pocket and you're happy because it paid all the bills and so on. But now they own the rights to it for forever. So
is that your dog, Sam? Good boy.
The doorbell
just voice heard.
So
grab them. Let us see them.
You know, in addition to the live TV, we also have over 30,000 movies and over 7,000 TV series. So
that's good too. That's
some
good
of
too.
the original, like Netflix stuff, we don't get it live when they first broadcast it, but it becomes available on the TV series where you can watch every season, every episode of your.
And I don't have to give my money to a CEO that is hell bent on destroying everything that I love. The Netflix CEO, what a clown. That's awesome. Okay, so there you
Yes.
go. You got your marching orders. Look for David Waddell at qbroadcast.com, CUE broadcast.com. Look for Sam Anthony at yournews.com. Make it feature those, save them as favorites. Make that your go-to to get your information. And the good thing about Your News is you can hyper localize it too.
Yes.
You can even get your high school football scores. Just put in your zip code. And Mike Cook, where do we find you, buddy?
Patriot Mike
Besides
Show.
Q Broadcast.
Patriot Mike Show. Just type in Patriot Mike Show. It'll come up
On everything.
on everything.
I don't know how you do it because I keep getting deleted and kicked off and ostracized. I don't know how you do it. How you
I
do it,
don't
'cause you speak as
broadcast
honestly as I
on
do.
Facebook, and I don't broadcast on YouTube. You could find me there and find my other links, but I don't broadcast there.
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
Okay, all right.
Rumble and
That's smart.
X, pretty much.
You're a smarter man than I am. Gentlemen, I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I really,
guys.
really enjoyed this. And I am just so happy that there are alternatives for us now. They're the ways we can get in, not only entertainment, but information. And we all want to be entertained too. I have news going all day long. And then come the evening, I'm like, I just want an old movie. I just want an old movie. I'm now watching because I'm not home. Where I am, it's a Comcast Xfinity controlled world. So I'll doing the voice thing. Free movies. And I'll scroll down and I found all 5 Charles Bronson Death Wish movies. I got 5 nights of entertainment right there. Just watched episode 5 movie. I love it. But if I could go somewhere like Q Broadcast, find that same kind of thing, I'm in. Over $200 just to have cable. Insane. What do you get out of it? Just insane. So if you appreciate my show and what I do, you can always find the shows on my website. You can give, you can financially help support this ministry. You can also buy merchandise. Please go to the merch store. There's some great stuff there now, and you're helping the show when you buy these kind of things. And also, you can contact me and you can even schedule a guest slot all through CharLeeSimons.com. CharLeeSimons.com. Mike Cook, are you still there? Let me get Mike back in here. Here's another thing I'd like to suggest to you. Hopefully you're still watching. And that is this. There it is. NewWaveOfLife.com and /Charlie Simons. This is a startup company that I hope you'll get behind because everybody's talking about the huge benefits of collagen. A lot of the things that we get from collagen and peptides are taken out of our food now. I mean, the shelf life of a loaf of bread is 13 months. I mean, what the heck is that? Didn't used to be like that. There's nothing alive in it. So we're not getting it from the foods that we're eating. And it's showing. It's showing in our health. It's showing in our faces, in our skin. Collagen has been the biggie right now, collagen and peptides. And this company, NewWaveOfLife.com /Charlie Simons, has a formulation that includes mushrooms and all different kinds of stuff. And unlike a lot of these companies,
you're doing a great job.
a lot of these companies,
right there.
you don't even know what's in it. You don't even know what's in it, do you now? They have all their ingredients right there at the website, NewWaveOfLife.com.
Let me tell you this. So if you got the snap, the crack, the creaking, and the pop when you get up in the morning, you know what I'm talking about. If you're 54 years old like me, oh yeah. Well, this takes care of that. This is a specially formulated blend of type 2 collagen and what they call the snow mushroom. Now, there's a technical name for that, but I'm not a technical guy, and I don't care because all I care about is it works. And it does. It makes a difference for me. It makes a difference for Charlie. It'll make a difference for you. I promise you. Just give it a try. All you got to do is go to that link right there and hit the shop button and scroll down. Here's the great thing about it. Just click on more information and it will pull up all the ingredients. You don't have to sign up for nothing. We're not going to ask you to become a member, to join our club, to join our network marketing, to do any of that. Only thing we want to know is
buy the product.
How are you going to pay for it? Where are we going to ship it? Now, let me just add this to that though. Let me just add one thing to this. Okay. This company was created out of necessity. And that's another story. It's 90 days old. It's doing millions and millions of dollars in business. and people are making a bunch of money, and it costs $0 to get started and $0 to sell. You're not signed up. You don't have to commit to a bunch of stuff. $0 to get started right now and $0 to sell. And I can show you how in just a few days, if you tried, you can make an extra income for yourself if you wanted to do it. So, but just go get the product. I'm telling you,
can just buy the
it's
product.
life-changing.
Try it first. See what you think, because that's what I do.
Look, if you suffer from the snap, the crack, the creaking, and the pop, you know what I'm talking about. You're not 20 years old anymore. I'm telling you. This makes a difference. Make me feel a ton better. They got another product called Nitro, all day energy without the shakes. I'm telling you, no caffeine. Well, I would say there's a little bit of caffeine in it, but not like the energy drinks you get. Fantastic. Anyways, hit CharLee up
And
hit that little.
Yeah, you use my name at the end there because that'll get you a discount. So it's Nueva, as in nuevalife.com/CharLee Simons, CharLeeSimons. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
You have a great day.
You too, my friend. It's an extraordinary gentleman right there. If you're not following him and watching his shows, he's live every day, 8 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Me, I do this when I can. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America, but most importantly, America bless God.